Have you ever wondered why there are people who, humans lived deep in the forest, the brain constantly had to stay alert to whatever could be dangerous? Predators, hunger, getting separated from the tribe, breaking a leg, being attacked. To survive, it had to prioritize fear over desire. Even a small sound was enough to make our ancestors jump up, ready to run or fight. And that mechanism still exists in you today. When you think about a goal, the brain does not prioritize the beautiful image you want to build. It prioritizes risk, failure, shame, the fear of rejection. It tries to keep you safe, even if that safety keeps you trapped inside your own box. Imagine you want to start a new job. Before imagination can paint a bright future, the survival brain jumps in. What if you fail? What if someone laughs at you? What if you lose money? You haven't even taken the first step, but fear has stepped ahead of you, and often it wins. Not because you are weak, but because you were programmed this way. According to Jung, most of the fear we think is logical is simply the unconscious repeating old patterns. You don't see possibility, you only see danger, because the unconscious is always alert to what it does not know. I once met a young woman who wanted to start a business, but hesitated for 3 years. Each time she was about to begin, her mind presented her with an endless list of what could go wrong. I don't have enough experience. I don't have capital. Others are better than me. But the interesting thing is, she had never actually tried. The fear did not come from reality. It came from the scenarios her brain created to protect her from potential harm. And when she understood that this was not her fault, but a survival mechanism, she finally had the courage to step out of the loop. Jung once wrote, "What you resist not only persists, but will grow in size." The more you avoid something, the more you fear it. The more you imprison yourself in it, the bigger it grows in your mind. When you keep thinking about what is blocking you, the unconscious assumes that is what you want to focus on. And like a shadow following you in the late afternoon sun, it clings to you everywhere, all the time. What keeps you stuck is not the barrier itself, but that you keep staring at it. When the mind continuously revolves around the obstacle, it forgets that you still have an entire road ahead. But the beautiful thing here is, the brain is not only programmed to fear, it can also be reprogrammed. You can teach your mind to return to what you want, not by denying fear, but by redirecting attention. Just like when driving, you cannot avoid an obstacle by staring at it. You avoid it by looking where you want to go. Life works the same way. You don't overcome obstacles by thinking endlessly about them. You overcome them by thinking more about the desire to call your name. Your brain does not know what is a barrier and what is a desire. It only knows wherever attention goes, power grows. And that is why Jung said to think continuously about what you want, because that is the only way for the unconscious to cooperate rather than resist you. If today your mind keeps returning to fear, don't blame yourself. You are not negative. You are simply operating under an old survival mechanism. But from the moment you recognize that, you have the power to choose again. Choose to look toward what you want instead of where you are being pulled down. Choose desire instead of doubt. Choose the future instead of memory. And when you begin placing your attention on what you truly want, little by little each day, you will see your mind opening like a new door, where all possibilities become clear and within reach. Number 2. Jung and the unconscious. You are living according to old fears, not the present. And from the moment you understand that the fear inside you is merely the product of a brain once designed to protect you, not to guide you into a new future, you will see a deeper truth. Many things that make you hesitate today do not truly come from the present. They come from layers of memories beneath the surface, unconscious imprints that Jung called the invisible hands of the past. And to continue this journey, you need to look deeply into what is controlling your thoughts without you realizing it. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." According to him, people do not live in the present as they think. They live in reactions from wounds that have not been healed. You think you are reacting to the situation now, but in reality, you are reacting to an older version of yourself, the version that was once hurt, and from that moment, the unconscious concluded, the future will be the same. When you were once mocked, now you fear showing yourself. When you were once rejected, now you fear opening your heart. When you once failed, now you fear starting. Your mind confuses memory with reality, old pain with new opportunity. I once knew a 27-year-old woman named Lena, intelligent and deep. But when standing before the chance to enter a new relationship, a good man, a feeling that could go far, she hesitated. Not because she feared love, but because an old wound had frozen her heart. In her first relationship, Lena was betrayed at the moment she trusted most. And even though she had matured, the unconscious still whispered, "Don't trust again. It will hurt again." What scared her was not the present, but the memory. She was not living in the current moment. She was still living in the year her heart broke. This is the unconscious loop, when the past holds the steering wheel of your life from the back seat. The easiest metaphor is the image of a circus elephant. When young, it is chained to a small wooden stake. It pulls, it struggles, it tries to run, but its strength is too small to break free. After a few weeks, it learns a false truth. It can never move farther than that rope. Years later, when it is strong enough to uproot trees, people only need to tie a thin rope to its leg. Not because it lacks strength, but because it believes in the memory. Human life is the same. Many people stand before big goals, but their minds are still tied to the invisible stake of the past. And the sad thing is, they don't know they can completely step beyond it. The hardest part is not accomplishing the goal, but believing you deserve it. Because the unconscious does not only store memory, it also creates a safety map, a familiar boundary zone it believes is least risky. Whenever you step beyond that zone, it triggers alarms, anxiety, confusion, the urge to procrastinate, the desire to go back. You think that is a bad sign, but in reality, it is just the defense loop of the unconscious. It does not know you have grown. It does not know you are changing. It does not know the person you are today is no longer the child you once were. It only knows that once upon a time you were hurt, so it wants to protect you from anything that might hurt. But the paradox is, this protection is what traps you. A person who matures in Jung's true spirit does not deny the past. They simply refuse to let the past define the future. They know the unconscious is not an enemy, but an inner child, a wounded child, wanting to be protected. And instead of running from fear, they gently step closer to it, embrace it, and whisper, "We are okay now. We can move forward." If you have ever wondered why you keep repeating the same negative thoughts, the same fear, the same limits, remember that nothing is wrong with you. You are simply hearing echoes from the deeper layers of the unconscious, where the past still believes it must protect you. But now, you are larger, brighter, stronger. You have the right to choose the thoughts you want to nurture. And when you begin thinking continuously about what you want, instead of what once frightened you, you are not only changing your thoughts, you are changing the very structure of your unconscious. That is when you no longer live according to old fear, but begin to live in the true present. If you have ever experienced the feeling of being pulled back by an old memory, even though your heart today is mature enough to move forward, share your story in the comments. You don't need to go into details. You don't need to recount all the pain. Just a few lines are enough to gently release what has stayed inside you for too long. You will be surprised to discover that sometimes just expressing a little is enough for the unconscious to recognize that you are ready to step out of the old loop and live in the true present. Number 3, the difference of the 1%. They think about what they want as a truth that is coming. When you realize that most of what is holding you back is just the echo of old memories, you begin to see an important distinction. Not everyone knows how to direct their mind toward the future. And this is where a new level of awareness begins, the level where only 1% truly live. Those who think continuously about what they want, as if it is coming closer each day. Those who belong to the 1% are not people without fear. They also worry, doubt, and have been hurt like anyone else. But the difference lies in the direction of the mind. When facing difficulties, the minds of 99% immediately turn to what they fear: failure, judgment, rejection, pain. But the 1% are different. Their brains are like a compass that has been calibrated. No matter how the storms blow, the needle always points in one direction, toward the goal, toward what they truly want, toward the future they are building. For them, what they want is not a vague dream, but a truth that is coming. And this quiet but steady belief creates a powerful field of energy that pulls their lives forward, little by little. During a group sharing session, I once met a woman who worked as a freelance content writer. For many years, her income was unstable. Clients came and went. Friends looked at her with pity. But she had a strange habit. Every night before bed, she wrote in her journal, "I am a successful writer. I live fully through writing." When difficulties appeared, instead of thinking, "I will fail again like before," she asked herself, "What is this trying to teach me so I can get closer to that future?" One day, a foreign client reached out. Then a big agency proactively offered a long-term contract. She said, "The change didn't happen outside first. It happened in my mind. I thought about what I wanted so much that it became the natural direction of my life." A famous figure who represents this spirit is Oprah Winfrey. When she was a poor girl abused since childhood, no one believed she could become the most powerful media icon in the world. But the difference was that Oprah always thought of her future as an inevitable reality, not a distant dream. She once said, "Create the highest, grandest vision possible for your life, because you become what you believe." On a deep level, Oprah did not just dream. She fed what she wanted with thoughts, words, choices, and every small action. And that is the essence of the 1%. They are not conditioned by the past. They are guided by the future they choose. It is important to emphasize that this is not blind positivity, not the idea of just think and it will come. Jung never encouraged delusion. He spoke of intentional energy direction. When the mind continuously returns to what you want, your energy flows there. Thoughts become emotions. Emotions become actions. Actions become a new trajectory. Those who belong to the 1% share 3 common habits. First, they imagine clearly what they want, like a movie playing. Second, they write those images down to anchor them in consciousness. Third, they act each day, not with grand actions, but with actions aligned with the frequency of what they want. When they want a healthy relationship, they learn self-love. When they want success, they learn discipline. When they want peace, they learn non-reactivity. They act as if the future they desire is a reality moving closer. Jung once said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." And what you do always comes from what you think continuously. The 1% understand this. They do not let memories drag them back into the dark. They do not let fear write the script of their lives. They place their mind in the right place, on what they want, on the story they are creating, on the version of themselves they are becoming. So if you find yourself thinking about fear over and over, pause and ask, "What do I truly want?" And direct your energy toward that. Even if you don't fully believe yet, even if doubt remains, simply thinking more about what you want than what you fear, you have already begun stepping into the realm of the 1%. Because life, at its deepest level, always moves in the direction where your mind continuously returns. And if you are persistent enough to return to what you want every day, that future will no longer be a hope, but a promise. Number 4. When you keep thinking about the obstacle, you are unconsciously making it grow. But ask yourself, If what you continuously think about is not the goal but the fear, then what will happen? This is one of the mind's most subtle mechanisms. When you focus too much on what is blocking you, you are unconsciously inflating it. Not because the problem is big, but because the mind magnifies it through each loop of worry. Jung once said that the unconscious shapes our lives according to what we refuse to look at. But he also reminded us, what we stare at for too long also becomes a force of direction. Like when you pour all light onto a dark spot, that spot immediately expands. The human mind operates on one principle. Thought does not simply describe reality. It creates your subjective reality. When you continuously think about what is blocking you, you are no longer standing in the present. You are living inside the worst version of the future that you yourself imagined. And your body, your nervous system, your behavior immediately follow that script. Imagine this. You are holding a flashlight in a dark forest. Wherever you shine the light, that place becomes larger, clearer, scarier, or more beautiful, depending on what you look at. If you shine it on the path, you will see the road drop sharply. In other words, the more you focus on what scares you, the more you become the worst version of yourself at the very moment you need clarity the most. That is why the more you think, "Don't shake," the more you shake. The more you think, "Don't be awkward," the more awkward you become. The brain does not understand the word "don't." It only understands the image you repeat. This leads to a paradox. Most of the fear you feel does not come from the situation, but from the time you spend staring at it. And when you stare too long, you give it a power it never truly had. Jung once said that psychic energy flows toward the direction of attention. Wherever you place energy, that part grows. When you think of your goal, energy moves toward expansion. When you think of fear, energy moves toward contraction. Jung wrote a very famous sentence that captures this principle perfectly. Where you fear, there your task is. Where the fear is strongest, that is exactly where the energy is blocked, and where you must bring your light back to. I remember a friend of mine who had a fear of speaking English. Every time she had to communicate, she thought, "I will say it wrong. I won't understand." And indeed, she could barely say anything. One day, her teacher told her, "You are thinking too much about what you fear, so your brain has no space left for what you already know." She experienced a simple exercise. Instead of thinking, "I am scared," she asked herself, "What do I want in the next 30 seconds? I want to express my idea." Surprisingly, her voice trembled less, her words became clearer, and the listener's reaction was much softer. Not because she suddenly became more skilled, but because she changed the direction of her light. Therefore, if you feel stuck in fear, stop and ask, "Where am I shining my light?" If the answer is on worry, gently turn that light toward what you want, even just a little. Because life, like a forest at night, lights up in the exact place you choose to look. And once you are consistent enough to nourish what you want with thoughts, energy, and daily actions, you will realize what once blocked you was never truly big. It only grew because you stared at it for too long. Now the light is back in your hands. If you believe that everyone deserves to step out of old fears and walk toward what they truly desire, tap like on the video to help spread that awareness. A single like not only helps the video reach more people, but is also your gentle way of telling the world. Everyone has the right to look toward the light instead of being trapped in their own shadows. Number 5. Think about what you want, but it must be specific, not vague. Have you noticed that most fears grow bigger simply because you have not truly named what you want? The human mind cannot operate in a vacuum. When you do not give it a clear direction, it will always return to what is familiar, and the most familiar thing is fear. Many people say, "I want freedom, I want happiness, I want peace." But when asked more deeply, what does freedom mean to you? What does happiness look like in your daily life? They usually fall silent. They don't know. And when what you want exists only as a fog, the mind has nothing to hold on to move forward. Jung once said that the unconscious is not convinced by words, but by images. The less clearly you visualize what you want, the less the unconscious has a target to serve. I once talked to a young man who said he wanted success, but for 3 years he made no progress. When I asked him, "What does success mean?" he replied, "A lot of money, I guess." But how much is a lot? What does "I guess" even mean? He didn't know. That vagueness forced him to live by reaction rather than by direction. One afternoon, I asked him to write down his ideal day, from waking up to the work he wants to do, the environment he wants to live in, the feeling he wants before going to bed. And only when he wrote, "I want to work in a small studio, design audio equipment, have 2 close collaborators, and create in silence every day," his face lit up like he had just discovered something. His success had never been a lot of money. His success was living in alignment with his creativity. When what he wanted became clear, the vague fear, "I'm not good enough," immediately shrank, because he finally knew where he was heading. Think of the mind as an archer standing in a forest. If you do not identify the target, your arrow will land on whatever looks most prominent, often the shadows, the fears, the old memories. But when you pinpoint a single target, all your strength, attention, willpower, discipline, intuition gathers at that one point. No more scattering, no more waste. In Greek mythology, Odysseus is the perfect embodiment of this lesson. On his journey back to Ithaca, he faced countless challenges, temptations, and dangers. But what kept him alive was not strength nor luck. It was the clear image of home, of Penelope, of the homeland waiting for his return. If Ithaca had been a vague concept, he would have easily fallen for the siren's song, been held by the goddess Circe, or stayed forever on Calypso's island of forgetting. But because he knew exactly what he wanted, to return home, to reunite, to complete the journey, every obstacle, no matter how frightening, was just a challenge on the path, not a destination. That is the power of a clear goal. It prevents you from being lost to things that look appealing, but do not lead you where you belong. A specific goal functions like an internal navigation system. When you say, "I want a good relationship," that is too vague for the mind to understand. But when you describe, "I want a relationship with respect, clear communication, no silent treatment games, no using hurt to control each other, where I can be myself without fear of judgment," your body and unconscious begin to recognize what fits and automatically reject what does not. You no longer fall into vague relationships just because there is chemistry. You know what you want, so you recognize it when it appears. And the most important thing is this: when the goal is clear, the mind no longer has a reason to return to fear. It has a place to place its energy. It has a road to walk. It has an image to serve. So if you feel stuck in the loop of thinking, fearing, avoiding, then thinking again, pause and ask a simple question. What do I truly want, specifically? Write it down. Look at it every day. Let it become your Ithaca, the place all your efforts are directed toward, the place that gives meaning to every step. Because the truth is, life only begins to move when you know exactly what you want. And when what you want is clear enough, everything blocking you will fade like a sad dream you woke up from long ago. Number 6, shift your focus from controlling outcomes to controlling attention. And right when you understand that everything you are looking for lies within, you will realize a subtle truth that most people miss. What exhausts us is not the path, but the attempt to control the outcome of it. We don't burn out because we walk too far, but because the mind keeps clinging to what has not yet happened. And here, Jung offers an important perspective. The human mind does not operate by outcomes. It operates by direction of attention. Wherever you look, your energy flows. Whatever you think about, your life slowly shifts toward it, as Jung once wrote. Your vision will become clear only when you look into your own heart. People often experience stress because they cannot control the future. They don't know when success will come. They don't know where a relationship is heading. They don't know when the pain will fade. They don't know whether their effort will be rewarded. But the very attempt to control outcomes is what causes us to lose control. It is like trying to hold a handful of sand. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. The mind is the same. The more you try to hold, the further it drifts from clarity. A viewer named Anna once shared her story with the channel. Anna always wanted a peaceful family, but every day she felt exhausted. If her husband was quiet for a moment, she feared he was upset. If her child misbehaved a bit, she feared she wasn't parenting well enough. Every small event made her imagine the worst-case scenario. Not because her family had too many problems, but because she was trying to control every outcome, making her mind tense like a tightened string. During a therapy session, her therapist told her, "The more you fear something and try to control it, the bigger it grows." Anna realized she wasn't tired because of life, but because she devoted too much attention to what might go wrong. From that day on, she simply asked herself, what do I want to direct my attention toward today? Peace, connection, or simply presence? When she stopped controlling the outcome and only controlled her gaze, the atmosphere in her home immediately felt lighter. What stressed her did not disappear, but its power diminished. Because from the moment she redirected her attention, Anna's life also began to change. When you place your focus on direction rather than outcome, uncertainty no longer suffocates you. You simply do what is necessary today. Imagine you are walking through a forest. If you keep looking down to check whether you will trip over roots, you will walk slowly and never see the path ahead. But if you lift your head and look toward where you want to go, the hill, the sunlight, the clearing, your steps naturally become steadier. Not because the roots disappear, but because you are no longer walking inside fear. You are walking inside intention. Just like the line from the song, "You'll never walk alone." Walk on, with hope in your heart. When you walk with hope, the path feels lighter. In Jungian psychology, all streams of energy follow the point of conscious focus. Wherever you place attention is where the unconscious begins to reorganize itself. So every morning, instead of asking, "How do I avoid failure?" ask, "What do I want to move closer to today?" It might be becoming 1% better, writing a single page, walking for 20 minutes, saying thank you to someone, or simply being more honest with your feelings. Each small action is an arrow pointed toward the future, while fear always pulls you toward the past. This shift from controlling outcomes to controlling attention is not just a life skill, it is a psychological reconstruction. You step out of the world of anxiety, where everything must be certain, and into the world of maturity, where you understand that the only thing you can truly control is what I choose to focus on today. And strangely enough, it is precisely when you stop trying to control the outcome that the outcome arrives. Not because you force it, but because you made space for it. Attention is the soil, belief is the seed, action is the water, and time is the sunlight. Everything you want will grow if you tend the soil in the right direction. What you seek is also seeking you. You just need to stop looking toward the barrier and turn toward the light. If you feel the power of directing your attention to the right place, leave one word in the comments. Forward, as a commitment that you will no longer live in fear, but in direction. Number 7, live as if what you want is becoming reality. At this point, the journey naturally leads you to a deeper step after you have learned to focus on direction rather than outcome. Live as if what you want is truly coming closer, little by little, gently like breath. This is not self-delusion or toxic positivity, but a state of consciousness that Jung called the transformation of inner images. When the inner world changes, the outer world changes accordingly. like two sides of the same mirror. After all, life does not unfold according to what you fear, but according to the images you nourish the most. Living as if what you want is gradually becoming reality means you do not stand on this side of life, waiting for things to change. You begin to walk as if a part of that future already lives within you. You act as the version of yourself that has moved one step further, believes a little more, and is a little more grounded. Jung once said that humans cannot change reality while still carrying their old self-image, and he also wrote, "We cannot change anything unless we accept it." When the inner form changes, the outer form adjusts on its own. And this is true even in the smallest things. In a Jungian therapy session, I once spoke with a woman who lived for years with the feeling that she was not good enough to be fully loved. Just a moment of silence from someone would make her heart shrink. A vague sign was enough for her to withdraw, as if love was something that must be clung to and feared. One day, in therapy, her guide asked her, "If you lived as if you were a woman worthy of love every minute, what would you do differently?" She stayed quiet for a long time and then said, "Maybe I wouldn't hold on to someone too tightly. I would sit straighter. I would speak my feelings more clearly. And I would stop apologizing for things that don't need apologies." From that day on, she began playing the role of the version she wanted to become. Not pretending, but practicing living in that direction through small actions. Walking slower, breathing deeper, replying to messages only when truly calm, choosing clear boundaries, choosing conversations that nourish rather than harm. 3 months later, she said, "I don't know what happened, but I feel respected in a way I never felt before. Not because people changed, but because I changed the way I entered the world." This is exactly Jung's spirit. When an inner situation is not made conscious, it happens outside as fate. When you change the image within, what you call fate also changes shape. Picture a seed. No one waits for the seed to sprout before caring for it. The gardener takes care of it as if it were already a tree. They water it, place it in sunlight, protect it from the cold. And that care is precisely what allows the seed to sprout. If they waited until the tree grew to care for it, it would die in the soil. Life works the same way. What you want only grows when you treat it as if it is already growing. You nurture the behavior first, and the result follows. You live first, and reality comes afterward. Not because of magic, but because certain encounters change, emotions become lighter. Not because the universe rewards you, but because you have opened the door to receive. When you deeply understand Jung's teaching, that life always leans toward whatever your mind returns to again and again, you will realize one thing. The world does not decide your next step. The quiet patterns of your mind do. Those who know how to direct their mind toward what they want are not the strongest or smartest. They are the ones awake enough not to obey the echoes of fear. They do not need to eliminate every obstacle. They simply choose to stop feeding them. And then something happens quietly, but unmistakably. When you think more about what you want, a new space begins to open, in behavior, in choices, and in the opportunities you never noticed before. Not because life suddenly favors you, but because you finally stopped turning your back on the direction you need to take. If this video touches you, share it with someone trapped in the old loops of fear, because sometimes just one correct perspective is enough to change someone's life trajectory. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next journeys. From today onward, you are no longer living to avoid what you fear. You are living to move toward what is calling you. And then, the future is no longer something to guess. It is something you are quietly creating every day.